Now there should be audio. Tell me if you have the audio or not. I'm going to pretend you do. Do you have audio? Can you hear me? Okay. With that then, because obviously I don't know how to use any of my software. Really, Aaron? Nice. Nice. You be nice, girl. It's a long ride tomorrow. Anyway, hello and welcome to Scott's Odyssey. How you all doing out there? Oh, where does the sun go when it gets dark? Everybody knows it goes underneath the flat earth and gets recharged, and then they rebroadcast it on the other side. Duh, dumb question. All right, let me get through. And first and foremost, I know he's probably not here, but jservello, happy birthday. I hope you had a wonderful day. All right, let's get through everybody. Hi, Raptor. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Miss Barney. Hi, Aaron. Thank you for joining us, Brian. You've missed a couple. Shonikin Skywalker. Weird. Very weird. Did I miss anybody? Hey. Who? He doesn't count. Raptor, you don't count. Hi, Raptor. All right. Yay, Drew is here. Excellent. Excellent. Brian, just tell Reba to like turn it down, or I can like get really loud if necessary. Hey, Roger, thanks for coming, man. Aaron, nobody cares that Dom's here. Dom, nobody cares. Okay? This isn't about you, Dom. Not about you. But you have a great evening and just enjoy the ride. All right, everybody. Go ahead. Ask me anything. Anything you want. I got some things I want to throw out there, but nothing like major important. Just doing some background changes within the channel. Nothing really major. As you see, some of the channel's been shifting toward a little bit more vloggy. For those who don't know, vlog is a video log. And the reason for that is because I'm going through some changes. Nothing biological. I was born this way. Okay, so don't get worked up like those weird people that were like, oh, he's got nail polish on a hand. He's gay. I'm running away now. Ah, which was just really sad, but I don't need people like that following. How is my health? Okay, health update. Everything is stable. I'm getting almost everything that was out of control back in control. I still have a little bit of work to do with the whole diabetes thing. That's just that's an everyday, it's an everyday new issue. Wait a minute. Shameless plug. Tastes better in this mug. You can get yours too if you just go out to link in the description. Anyway, other things in health. Trying to get the heart stronger, and I'm trying to get a lot more walking and movement in with taking less of my inhaler for the breathing thing. But it's a back and forth. It's a give and a take. Sometimes I have really good days, and sometimes I have days where I woke up and I really regretted what I did. Like I went out to Pulpit Rocks the other day and I was like, I can traverse this, no problem whatsoever. And yeah, there were a lot of problems that caught up to me. But other than that, yeah, I'm getting on top of everything, and we're going to make a better world. I know a lot of you saw that I started drinking mushrooms because that's good for you. And no, Rise does not sponsor me yet, but they're epic awesome. All right, coming down from, I hope that answers your question well enough, Roger. If I think of something else, I'll probably DM you or I'll mention it in here. We'll see what happens. How am I? How am I? How are you, Miss Barney? You've been having some rough times too, and I'm fully aware of that. And I think about that. I keep you in the prayers when that comes about. Overall, doing pretty good. Life came fast and I put on a helmet. Central PA rail fan, any fall trips planned? Well, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, former indentured servant daughter and myself will be going up to, I guess it's late enough that none of you are going to like stalk me or nothing, are you? We're we're going to be going up to northwestern Pennsylvania, and we will be within touch of 5 or 6 locations. I'm hoping to get at least 2 of them, but the weather might prevent us even from getting really good explores on those done, but we're going to do it anyway. And the main reason is because, you ready for this? I got a text message from a former indentured servant daughter, and she was going to do the driving to go to the trip tomorrow, and said to me, I looked at the weather. The weather's going to be kind of bad that day. It's going to be raining all day, so make sure you dress appropriately. And I just kind of stared at the text, blinking at it. And then she realized that she is growing up and sounding like daddy. Let's see. Yes, Miss Barney, diabetes is absolutely miserable. But, you know, got to turn the page. You got to make a decision to wake up every day and just keep going every day. Shonigan, you love the link in the description is one of your favorite. You like that? They're the best. Brian, do I like hunting and fishing? When we run out of venison within the house, I might consider, depending on whether or not my stepson comes up, going hunting to refill the venison pool. But that hasn't happened for a few years. So the closer I get to hunting now is taking the camera out and going, oh, I could have gotten you. It would have been great. Nice rack, et cetera, et cetera. Fishing, before I started trying to figure out what's going on in my head and doing the whole, you know, woohoo, I'm a piece of a puzzle. Before I started doing that, fishing was probably every day, if not every other day. And I took a few years off, and now I'm really kind of mentally, at least, gearing back up to get out there, because I even have a boat. It's a paddle boat, and it was so I could have a boat, kind of a joke, but not a joke boat. And I painted the name Nemesis on it because all the fish I couldn't get to, I could now get to. And I can pop a little electric motor on it and take it out on the race town and putter around. But at the same time, I do have a 21-foot boat, and I have an even larger boat. I think it's 28-footer that I just need to do a couple of repairs on and take out. And I want to go and start getting some of the more fun fish. Although in general, I do love creek and stream fishing over lake fishing. But you know how it is. Sometimes you have to go the easy route. Aaron, if I could die again, would I? Of course I would. It's so much fun. You know, you see this big tunnel of light, and there's this calmness that comes over you until they rip you back into light. I don't know what happens after that. I've never gotten any further than that, but I've been there a couple of times, several times actually. And they rip you back, and then there's cold, pain, and all your comorbidities, and it just really sucks. It'll probably happen again, and it'll probably happen on your watch, little girl, so be careful what you ask for. It's, uh-oh. Lisa, did you retract the message, or did Raptor put a band hammer on you? Part 2 of Aaron's question. If you didn't die, would you? Just for the culture of the conversation, yes, Shonigan, I absolutely would. You have to experience everything in life at least once. Even you've been there. Okay, and most of you won't get that, but I know Aaron will get that, and Lag will get that whole look at the screen there. 2 shirts and a hoodie. Roger, your wife is epic. Tell her I said that. She's absolutely epic. And hopefully the shirts came in good quality. I've had some complaints that some of the shirts come in not great. And I know the hoodies are epic because I got the hoodies too, because they're really, really nice. Ms. Barney, thank you for the board. That's the chalkboard. It's just I was having too much fun on Temu with all my 600% discounts, and well, they didn't have a big as above so below, but that was the closest. that they had to it. And I was like, oh, I could go with Phases of the Moon Wiccan thing. I'm all right with that. It's pretty. So yeah, I picked that up, but thank you for liking it. I think it's a nice backdrop too. Yeah, stream fishing, Roger, it's the best. People that don't do it don't realize how hard it is either, especially when you're one of those people that go, oh, okay, so I need to twist my wrist twice and double back stroke it as I toss it in order, sorry for the thump, in order for me to get it through that little hole over there, because I know the bass are in that big spot underneath the willow tree that's touching the water, and you need to get, if you know, you know. Sean, the boat absolutely runs. There's just some stuff on the bottom of it that I need to clean off because it was a flood boat from down in Georgia. So it's got some nasties on it that I don't want getting into our waters in Pennsylvania. Aaron, you don't wear watches. Okay. Oh, I see. Yes, you do. You do wear a watch. You got that whole, you got a watch. Tells you your heartbeat and all that. Oh, Lisa, you can come stalk. It's fine. You and your family, you can just come along and hang out. There's nothing wrong with that. And if I thought you were serious, you have seen things like, I don't know, stuff that hangs out in the background there. If you can get past the porch cameras, and then you can get past the 200-pound dogs, then you got to deal with Broomhilda back there, and she's not very nice. She's very loud. And I don't mean that in a bad way either. I agree. The hole in the hoodie could be a little bit bigger. And Roger having a big cranium is just a sign that you must have Irish blood in you. And it's an actual problem in Ireland with, there's a whole like quarter of the people with Irish descent that have a head that's too big. So when a hat says one size fits all and it doesn't fit ours, this hat is a double XL just to fit my cranium. And I mean, I've always been told I'm a fat head, but I really have tried to pinch test that, and nope, that's just skull right there. So totally. Trout fishing. Now, I do not fly fish. I've recently become friends with a fly fisher. They haven't tried to push their ways upon me. My stepson is a fly fisher, and he's been trying to shove it down my throat forever. But I like trout fishing in the trout streams that are not catch and release. I do release, I do catch and release. But I like my barbs. I like my bait. I like my live bait. I like my fake bait. I just like to catch the fish. So as you would know, that would mean trout, bringing in the follies, bringing in the rock bass, the black striped bass, you know, anything. Actually, I was just at Whipple Dam and reminiscing over a story of pulling pickerel out too, intentionally casting in the weeds just to play with the pickerel. Let's see. Yeah, Aaron, I got that. Now I shan't ever. Better watch how you use that word shan't. Lisa, does that mean you're gonna like appear? You're gonna be looking for me somewhere up in northwestern PA, up in the wilds? You think you can find the Odyssey? I could even give you a hint. It'll be a bridge. Ooh. How often do I change the objects on the shelves behind me? I don't change the objects on the shelf per se. Sometimes I pull them down to show people that I'm in video chats with. Sometimes I add stuff. Sometimes I move it because I fall over with all the garbage that's on the floor that you can't see here. And I trip and I hit the shelf and it shakes and things fall. And then I just put it all back up because it was never meant to be that cluttered. I actually have a shelf in my hallway here that's at least 3 times bigger. And I need to get that in here and start making that look prettier back there. Oh, what was that, Kim? I missed it. You started watching me something or other. Don't retract your messages unless you're doing something that you really think would be offensive to the YouTube policies, because you can't offend me. It's really not possible. Let's see. Your mother was a Macmillan. What is that in relation to? Was that something I said? Oh, I see. There you go. Excellent. Any mix and max is good. Excellent. See, told you, Roger. I know things. There's stuff up in this skull. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I love Gettysburg, and do I think I'll be making any more videos there? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I love Gettysburg? As a historical site and for the reverence of the site, an absolute 15. As far as me making more videos there, I'm trying to be very careful. Gettysburg is like, or is similar there to, in the history area, talking about trains in front of foamers. No offense to the foamers that are there. I see you there. I know we have foamers in the chat, and I don't mean it derogatorily. I mean it like, it's like love. So I'm very cautious about going there. I have stories that I can tell about there. I will definitely be going there for a couple of ghost stories. I'll be going there to tell you about the barn where the body parts were piled as high as the hay room, or the second story of the actual barn, and things along those lines. But I will not be going there to talk about the battles during the Civil War. I am not a Civil War buff. I'm actually a World War I and World War II buff. So Civil War and Revolutionary War, although I really like the Revolutionary War, they're not my forte per se. It's the odd and off stories that I like to stick to. Noticed Aries. I'm Garrett, and I've been a fan since day one. I love the channel. Aww. So Noticed Aries, Shonikin Skywalker, and former indentured servant daughter Erin are my children, and they're all in the chat. Tell me who's a good daddy. Am I right? Am I right? Okay. Let's see, G. Noticed Aries asks, favorite location visited since the creation of the channel. Excellent, excellent question. I've loved every site because of the adventure of the site. Getting there sucks initially. Planning the site is the worst. And at the end of the site, it's also the worst. So that just proves to you that, you know, the start and the destination are not what the channel's about. It's about the adventure. Let's see, favorite site. Probably Tituna. Tituna Cave was probably my favorite. Although that's a hard one. I think Tituna was my favorite because not only did I have a former indentured servant daughter there, but I also had Noticed Aries there. And it was new to them. They went further than they had ever gone. And we reached the part where nobody goes beyond, which is, of course, the log barricade. And we went beyond that, and it got scary. It got weird. The water was just freezing cold. We were belly crawling, and we made it past that and saw the most spectacular things you could ever imagine walking into a huge room. So that would be my favorite site. Let's see. Brian, when I lived on Blue Diamond, have I ever explored the Camp Blue Diamond Church area? Camp Blue Diamond Church area, so up by Globe Run Road. No, and I've been told that there's some interesting things just beyond the church. I'm assuming you're talking about the church that's on 305, almost at Globe Run, where you would turn to go back into Tussey. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I can move that up the list, Brian. How would I rank my children? Favorite to least favorite. I hate to say it, Aaron, but my favorite is the middle child. He just doesn't know it yet. And then after that one, probably the absentee child. And then the little brat. The little brat comes in third, appropriately. Let's see. There's going to be a war in the chat room here. People are going to get unowned. Have I gotten any cool new shelf trinkets, Mr. Goblin? Okay, first off, Sean, I'm not a goblin. I'm a dragon. We collect things too. Anyway, yeah, there are so many things there that you'd be very surprised. You'd have to come back from Florida in order to find that out. Body parts. Great answer. Aaron, I really like Crescent too. But Crescent was so cold the first time, and I feel like we didn't grasp enough of it the second time. It felt different the second time. No, Tytuna Cave, Lisa, Tytuna Cave was not my first video. Tytuna Cave was my second or third video. My very first video was experimental, and it's the one where I went to the McGuire Massacre Cemetery on the top of the ridge in the middle of the state game lands. My technical second video, which wasn't initially posted, was me emotionally trying to be comedic and sarcastic by going back at everybody who said something bad that was real life friends about my first video. And that is currently now posted up there. So then it would have been probably Tytuna. So my second posted one, but my third visible one. Roger, TMI? Oh, 3 Mile Island. You got to remember, I used to be a computer geek, and I'm all hip with the kids today in their language. We're already past the yeet and yote, and we're now up to the gyats and skibbities. So any chance of a TMI visit? I had one planned, but almost the entire island and 40 feet from the shores after the island on the mainland was all purchased by Microsoft. Now, let's see. Sorry, didn't realize my face was all the way down there. Let me bring this down a little bit. All right. So Microsoft, this is something that I should probably put on the secondary channel. I don't want to do a video of it on the main channel, but Microsoft purchased one tower, but all the land containing the other towers. They're spinning up the one tower to create 251 kilowatt hours to power AI servers. And I don't know if those servers will be on the island or if they're in a remote location and they're going to keep them out in Seattle, Washington, or I don't know what they're doing there, but it's all been purchased, and a lot of the land's been purchased by Microsoft to power their artificial intelligence. So I am sure there is a nice little conspiratorial dirty story in that one. Let's see. I'll keep that in mind though, Roger. If I'm going to go hit TMI, yeah, I'll reach out to you. I think I have your contact information like everywhere. For those who don't know, people like Roger Garman and Brian Walter and Mrs. Barney are long time people on the channel. Not as long as Noticed Aries, as he stated that he was the first and #1 fan, which he might have been second, but we're not going to go after him for that. Let's see. Pickle Gaming. Yes. Oh, yeah. I remember that. We were the ones who told you, don't go up that hill, Pickle Gaming. We were going out to the Kinzu. We went down the one side, and then we went down to the underneath the Kinzu Bridge. Then we climbed up the other side, and it was just an absolute nightmare. It was so bad.
It was so hot.
It was bad. And then we spent an hour at the top, and then we came back down, and coming down was just as bad as going up. And when we reached the bottom, we met two pleasant people, nice young lady, and we're having conversations about the fact that we were recording and all. And I told them about my channel, and they're here now. Thank you, Pickle Gaming. And then gave them warning, don't go up there. It's hard. It's so hard. And then we spent, I don't know, 3 hours trying to get back up the one side to get off the site. Aaron, I don't want to hear about Dom making fun of you. Dom, stop making fun of Aaron or I'll dox you. Okay, next, let's see. Sean, what are we going to? Let's go. What did I say? Who knows? Oh, that's about the order of people. That's right. Notice, Aries, I marked you as number 1 because you're the middle child. How's it feel to be first for once? It's a lot of pressure. Let's see. Okay. Roger, that is a spectacular question. Roger's asking if there's anything left of Fantasy Forest and Forest Zoo that I could do a video on them. Let me bring something up that I can show you guys here. I'm clicking on my screen. I know you're not seeing it just yet. Right now, if I bring this over here, I open that up and I hit this guy. Sorry about the sound loss. Let's do it this way. All right. Oh, where is it? All right, I got to rehide it and unhide it. All right, give me 1 second to get my Yeti microphone over onto that other desk. Okay, can you hear me again? Let me see the chat. All right, can you hear me again? Can you hear me? Excellent. Okay. So as I was saying, these are images that you might be familiar with. There's a guy who went out and who did a big tour, and this is the kind of stuff that was all left behind there. And I asked if I could use his material, and he hasn't responded to me. Oh, one thing that you didn't hear. When I'm looking over here, I'm actually looking at the photographs that you're seeing that are over here to my left. He hasn't responded to me, and he's one of those types of people where if I go and use his material, even though I created on my own in a different way, he'd probably come after me legally and get it shut down. So it's a video I was getting ready to put together back August 25th of 2020. This is all the stuff that you would have seen in it. But when I went up to the site, this is what I was able to pull out. And this is no joke. This is all that is left of Park Forest as of 2020. That's it. Nothing else. So unfortunately, I no longer have a video that I can make unless I can get permission from that guy and try and reach out to him again to use his material with creative license. So, yeah, I know, noticed areas. I broke the stream audio. Well, I have like 15 scenes set up and they don't all work. Let me go back up here a little bit. Read out. We were mentioning TMI, but we're not really talking about it specifically. So yeah, now there's more people viewing again. If Greg is in chat, hello. Greg, are you in chat? Greg from Sheets that discovered former indentured servant daughter as negative talent. Just let us know if you're in chat. Yeah, lots of people had lots of memories there, Roger. And there's even a couple of short video clips that I can use in making a video, but unfortunately, without all those other urbexers photos, it's really going to be lost on 90% of the people that watch the channel, in my opinion. Thank you, Raptor, about the on-screen. Yeah, we lost sound. Lost sound, broke it. Need to get themselves. Elmer's fix the stream. Nice. Nice. Read out. I've been in several of your broadcasts, dude. You just need to slow down there, Chief. Just slow down a little bit on those comments, okay, buddy? If nobody knows, Readout Productions does. He's the reason why people like me don't do Civil War stuff, because he does it the right way. I found him when I was trying to make one a while back, and when I saw what he was doing, and he was just doing it with silly little pieces of paper and making a description of a particular battle, it blew my mind, and I went, I can't compete with that kind of stuff. But so feel free to go out and check Readout Productions. Great YouTube channel, great guy. Let's see. All right, stop with the Gorilla Glue joke, guys. Uh-oh, lost control of that window. There we go. All right, see. So, Mrs. Barney, were you traveling in Kinzu when the current storm hit, or when the one that took it down hit? Because that tent camping when a tornado's coming through, that's a bad day. It's a very, very bad day. Let's see, Shanakan, are there any cool areas to explore and do a video on that have potential company cover-up history? Sort of like how Centralia's fire was potentially caused by malicious third parties. As a matter of fact, there are. Up in the Pennsylvania wilds, there is a secret location of a potentially buried World War II bunker that is filled to the brim with jeeps, weapons, ammo, fuel, and food. According to the information that I've looked at, there are 2 of these bunkers, and nobody seems to know where they are. But we'll find it eventually, because, I mean, we're the Odyssey. Of course we're going to find it. There. Okay. See, Zoo 70s grizzly bear. Whoa, that'll scroll by. Okay. You're welcome, Roger, for the earworm. That's excellent. You too, Central PA Rail fan. You're welcome for the earworm. I'm always open to providing that. If you guys would have been here a little bit earlier, you would have seen all the way at the top. Actually, Roger was. That I told everybody who was chatting before the broadcast started that they were being a little bit too loud because I was trying to listen to Scenes from an Italian Restaurant by Billy Joel. It's been stuck in my head for a month now. Still can't get it out. So if you guys didn't know, Roger, Brian et al., the reason why that park was shut down was because of how mean they were actually being to the animals. It wasn't a lack of money or anything like that, which everybody likes to say it was. They got shut down because they were being really not good with the animals. And they were worried about people getting seriously hurt. And based on the timeline, late 70s, early 80s is when it shut down, if I remember correctly, because I was living in Ennisville around 86 and it was no longer open as far as I remember. But it wouldn't have been like people going, oh, save the planet, save the bears, save the trash pandas and save. It wasn't like that. It was, they were being straight up not nice to the animals, cruel. Let's see. Old Bedford Village. Old Bedford Village is on my list. I originally reached out to them and wanted to try to set up a situation where, hey, I can come in and do this video for you to help promote you guys if you let me come in without a cover charge. And then I'm also going to make a video that I perceive of the old village. And they didn't like the second part of that, but that might change, being that I've recently been contacted and I still need to respond to them by Bedford County Historical for potential speaking opportunities with them. Don't know if I'm going to be any good at open speaking engagements. I have a problem with speaking openly. I say things like, and and a poor speaking voice. You guys know. You hear it every time I go live, right? I have to have a script. Yeah, I know it wasn't good fun readout. I absolutely know that. You know enough about my personality. I was just busting stones. Speaking of busting stones, I'm going to make a video. I'm determined to make a video. These 3 new YouTuber clowns came into my backyard, went to my places after using my research, at least partly my research, to make a video about these sites. Nobody called me. Nobody invited the ODDySEEy. They just come up here and they think that they're allowed to go to my places. We got to tell them this is ODDySEEy territory. And we now own all the way out to the west. We don't own Pittsburgh yet. We're getting there. And just wait until I go into their sector of the Northeast and I just come down on them real hard over there. And I tell them the way that it is. But yeah. And in that video, I'll highly recommend that you watch their channels because they did a spectacular job. It's almost unfair how well they did those jobs. Let's see, Aaron, out of all the sites I visited, if you could see any of them the way it used to be, what would I choose? That is a spectacular question. And sorry, Central PA Rail fan, I skipped over your question. I will come back to it. Wow. If I could see any of them the way it used to be, what would I choose? Wow. Like all of them. I don't think I could just pick one. It'd be great to be able to see the Kinzu back up and running properly. It'd be great to see the trains going through the actual tunnels that were made for them. It would be awesome to go through Crescent when it was a place for shrinky dinks, as well as when it was a place for as an infirmary. So many different places would be so cool to go see. Uh, oh, what's that one over in State College out towards Snowshoe? That's just concrete left over. That factory was like a football field in size. Would have been great to see it as a football field. Or the POW camps would be really cool to go see. I'd probably revisit all of them. Let me jump back up top here. Did you ever do one on the old Lincoln Highway buildings? I've done 4 buildings on Lincoln Highway, but not normal buildings. I've done like the coffee pot. I've done the, what else have I done on Lincoln Highway? There was something else. Yeah, I did a shoe. I did the shoe. I did coffee pot. Totally different ends of Lincoln Highway. I talked briefly about the fantasy park that used to be there with the Pied Piper and the privacy. It's all privately owned. But there's a lot more things on one up to the mountain where the boat was, the boat restaurant, which is also on Lincoln. So I've done a handful of them, and there are a lot more that I'll be hitting along there. So keep your eye open for that. They'll come along. Great place to go. Other sites. And Mrs. Barney, I'm really sorry that you were in that storm. That's just, you and your family are lucky to be around. That was bad. I heard that even the roads to get there were shut down because of all the trees that were covering them. That'd be a great story. We could do it. Mrs. Barney, we'll get together, and I know it'd be a trip for both of us, but we'll get together and we'll do a direct interview, and we can like mask your voice if you want and put a black box over your eyes if you want, or we could do it over Zoom and it'll be an interview. We'll be all serious. Noticed Aries, Jeeps. Wait, Mrs. Barney said Jeeps. Jeeps. Where did Jeeps come in? I love Jeeps. Oh yeah, Jeeps. They'd be Willies. They'd be awesome. They'd be epic. Noticed Aries asked me if I would travel to a foreign country such as Japan or Iceland. Absolutely. I'd go in a heartbeat, especially Iceland. That'd be really fun. But yeah, Japan, Iceland. I've been to Canada. Does that count? I won't go back. I had my fill of Hortons. But yeah, I'd absolutely go to a foreign country. Why wouldn't you? I would love to do Russia, as crazy as that might sound. No, I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist either. I do have some socialist belief, but I am not a socialist, not by any means. I'm ultra conservative on most stuff, if it makes sense. But I would love to go to Russia. Russia's just beautiful. I'd probably avoid the Middle East. There's not much there that catches my attention. There's a lot of sand, a lot of dirt, a lot of mud huts, and people living in caves who dislike each other. I would not go to India unless I was invited directly by Praveen Mohan to do a show with him, a collab, and go visit some of the temples, only because I wouldn't want to spend the weeks trying to scrape the smell of that country out of my nose. Same goes for Bangladesh. I hope that answers your question. Aaron and Roger, okay, enough with the echolalia. Okay, you just back off, guys. now I'm gonna have cranberries in my head. All right, Shunikin Skywalker, do I have any plans on to do videos on more modern history? Countless stories from the family members about things that happened in Philadelphia. So, Shonikin, if you haven't been paying attention, Philadelphia is a bad place right now. And it's unfortunately getting progressively worse. As a matter of fact, there's even a thing that's going on where I think the city council there is getting ready to do a vote, just like Minneapolis did, to have broadcast prayer from the Nation of Islam 5 times a day throughout the city. So it's getting a little dangerous there. We might have to wait a little long before we can get in there. I know you went with me on a tour, and there was just some really amazing things to see in the old city. And I really wanted to do shows on that, but the city's been a little bit on the darker side. So we'll see how that plays out. I did get an invitation from the Canine CPT that she would bring her dogs along and she'd protect me. And that might be okay. It would be pretty cool to have a couple of fur missiles, you know, walking along down the street while filming. Actually, that would be spectacular. Let's see. Brian, you asked, did Penn State University get robbed in 1994 from a national championship game? What do you want me to answer with that? All I know is I have Coke bottles that have Penn State and Joe Paterno on them from a little bit earlier than that. Did they get robbed? They're a public university, and they were trying to play in a championship game. So technically, no, they didn't, because they're not an Ivy League college. They're public. Let's see. Mrs. Barney, I've seen some of these backyard videos you spoke of. Wonder if I knew about them. Which backyard videos did I speak of? I've already lost it. That's the ADHD part. Oh, my earlier videos. Yeah. I like my backyard videos. I like building the contraptions and sticking my daughter into them. That was the best part. All right, Roger, I will get in contact with you regarding Wormleysburg and Harrisburg, because I'll be doing a lot of bridge videos there. Also going to be doing the one about the Statue of Liberty out on the pylon there. If I could find a place, I've looked on Google Earth repeatedly, find a good place where I can park and not have to walk too far and not interfere too much with the traffic that goes along the two highways there on both sides of the river. Let's see. Mr. Ed's Elephants. So you want me to go to the candy store down by the POW camp? We drove by it, and it was still during the time of COVID and kind of was closed. I think 3 different times drove by it during that month, and it was closed each time. Even when I did the Babes in the Woods story, that was also down that way. And it was closed. So I'll have to see if it's open. I have Mr. Ed's on my list because I was kind of interested in it. But at the same time, it's just a weird site. That one and the toy store north of Pittsburgh that looks like a B-2 bomber or a spaceship. That's another place I'd like to go. All right, Sean again. And considering how dangerous has been and that you know most streets by name, considering it's your home turf, there's a lot of history to unpack. Yeah, Chicago was nice, but yeah, I know Philly inside out. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I know Philly. I know all the alleyways. Well, I know lower northeast, northeast, south, central, old city. Don't know west, and I don't know north, and I don't want to know either of those. Let's see, Howdy'sburg. Mrs. Barney, I'll keep that in mind, and I might task you with that. Eagle's Mirror, yeah, nice. Alan, so Alan Aviation said, spent last week in Eagle's Mirror. That would be cool back in the day. I like boats. Alan, take a look at the video on the channel called World's End. And it talks about World's End, and Eagle's Mirror is talked about in there heavily from back in the day. And I think you'll be surprised to find out that it wasn't necessarily what you think it was. Roger, are you saying that you're close to Fort Indiantown Gap? There's some fun stuff out there. if I can get past the military. Alex Jones, see the rifle in the background. Have you ever gotten into firearms? The history or military surplus. No. YouTube has really strict rules about it. The fact that they haven't flagged me for having the AR in the background is just probably a miracle, especially with the number of times I've pointed to it directly and let people know, go ahead and dox me, come to my house. I don't mind, because if I don't like you, Broomhilda will take care of the problem. I did spend some time though where I worked at a firearms store and did repairs on a lot of military weapons and did a lot of engravings on them, which that didn't go too well, but things come and go. So I'm really familiar with it, but there are people out there that are so hardcore and that's all they do, that I don't bring it into Scott's Odyssey, because there's not a lot of things in the United States. Although there will be things that'll come up, like when I go to certain historical locations in Pennsylvania, I'll talk about the purpose of towers where they're like, oh, it's a fire tower, or it was a watch tower to see if someone's coming. And I'll be like, no, it was a lead tower that you would take the hot lead and pull it up through the elevator in the middle, and then you would dump it off the side in order to form your balls for the military. And I'll talk about it then. And I try to avoid talking about it when going to historic events, because it takes away from the job of the guy who's there to talk about it. And they know their script and they have an idea about the weapon, but they don't necessarily always get it right. And I have these almost uncontrollable urges to go, well, actually, it's this particular kind of way. And I don't want to do that, because I already talked poorly about the train foamers when they hit me with that, when I say something wrong about a train or something they think is wrong. Central PA real fan, Martinsburg. Yep. Yeah, read out. I absolutely agree. Philly's just no go right now. It'll come back, but right now it's a little no go. Times Square Church Summit. Is that a location, Roger? I know you're having side conversations. I'm trying to follow along. Right. Oh, nice spot. All right, let's see. Okay, Sean. I see what you're saying. I don't necessarily need to go there to Philadelphia to talk about things. Shonikin, do you remember when I took you to Center City, Philadelphia, and we walked into some of the buildings, and like the shopping buildings, and instead of going shopping, we didn't go any further than the lobby, just so I could point to the walls and show you that the crown molding, or that some of the figurines on the walls, or that the lower molding or the chair rails had symbols and things on there, and how it was Masonic, and it was actually telling secret messages or things about Masonic things that were found in the underground passageways, like the concourse and such. That's the stuff that I want to actually capture and talk about, more than the general history that everybody knows about Philadelphia. And unfortunately, nobody's done that. Let's see. Screwball, you missed absolutely nothing. I just been talking about myself, man. You're good. There wasn't one thing I said that was worth anything to anyone. Come in 20 minutes, hour late, ask if you missed something, for crying out loud. You can go back to the beginning and start watching. Let's see. Candy store in the museum dedicated. Yep, that's the elephant. Byron Small, you enjoy my videos. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're visiting the places, and we'll probably run into each other eventually. I'm the guy with the long hair and the hat and a weird voice. Oh, I'm really happy that my videos were able to help you find places, or at least know what you were looking at when you got there. It's one of the hardest things to do, is you go somewhere and you go, wow, this is beautiful. Then you leave and you go, what the hell was that place though? What was it for? What was it about? And the NPS, the National Park Services, they try their best to put out a little blurb on a board to tell you. But ever since 1980 something, late 80s, they're under a rule of write a 6th grade level reading list of a story that you make up and include some of the facts in order to attract more people to come here. So 90% of those boards are lying to you. And it drives me insane just to get you to come back or to donate money or something like that. And I have major issues with that. So that's one of the reasons why the channel exists, is so that when you go out there, if you watch it from my video first, yes, you're going to see stuff that might spoil some of the things you're going to see. But you'll get the real history, the real story behind it. And then when you do get there, as you've probably already noticed, even with my high quality video recording, it doesn't even capture remotely how beautiful these sites are. These sites are so much beautiful in real life. Maybe if I get like a $3,000 camera or something instead of my $300 one, it would be different, but I don't think it would. One of the people I like to follow is Walter Zollner, and he's all into the cinematography. Same with Running into History, really into the cinematography. And still can't capture how beautiful these sites are when you go out there and look with your real eyes, or with your fake eyes, or with any eyes on the site. Let's see. Most important question, how are the puppies? The puppies are wonderful. For those who were following the story of the flea infestation, we finally have it under control. Not 1000% beat, but it's completely under control. And they're very happy, and all the fur that they chewed off of themselves is growing back. And they're getting lots of loves and kisses. They get more love and kisses than anything else in this household. And that's undeniable. On all sides, they get everything. And now they're eating a lot more meat and a lot less kibble. And thank you very much. Restaurant/bar called The Tavern. Thank you for that. Let's see. Park for the statue if the river is low enough. Central PA rail fan. I thought about actually dropping a boat in and just boating down. I don't even want to boat to the actual, I don't even have to boat to the actual pylon that it's standing on. I just need to have some location where I can go, oh, let me park here and stand on these rocks on the bank and drone it. That would be the easiest way. Nice. Coming down. Ever do any history on Lily, PA? I did the greatest history on Lily, PA, Alex Jones. I told the story of Lily, PA fighting back against the Ku Klux Klan. That was done this year, probably. It was done on the actual 100th anniversary. So that was just a couple of months ago. Night, Brian. Sorry if I didn't catch it before you jumped off. Buffalo Line Dolphin. I'll have to jot that down. But Central PA Rail fan, you know we're not supposed to walk on the railroad. We're not supposed to cross the railroad. We're not supposed to stand within 20 feet of the edge of the rocks of the railroad. You know how hardcore they can get. Sometimes they're not nice to us. Cornwall Iron Furnace. Is that that's a question going back and forth with someone else, unless that was coming my way. I believe the Cornwall Iron Furnace I hit at some point. Maybe I didn't. I've seen you years ago on the lower trail, and I was the guy on a bike. I remember the hat. Screwball, that's kind of funny. On the lower trail, not lower trail, for anyone who's reading Screwball's message about I see I seen you years ago on that's not Lower, that's Lower Trail. And yes, it's spelled Lower, but it was the name of a person, a lawyer by the name of Lauer, who donated a lot of money to have a rail turned into a trail. You were the guy on the bike. Let me think. Holy cow. Yeah. Yeah. I think I was dying medically. It's like, holy cow. 5 miles. It was shortly after the heart attack. How long did I visit with the officer that had arrived at my bicycle accident when you recently visited the scene? Just long enough to have a chat with him, long enough to do an interview that he was open to. And there was a lot of handshaking, a whole lot of handshaking, a whole lot of thank yous, and a whole lot of people talking about how the universe came together at that moment. And then they went about their way. He seemed very not unlike myself in the sense of like, okay, there we had conversation. Now we're done with it. Let's move on with our lives. Have a great time. Nice meeting you. Which I'm totally okay with because that's the way my personality is, like an over peopling thing. And that was all. His wife seemed more into wanting to do a little chatty Cathy for longer, but that's not the way it played out. So it wasn't too long, and it was starting to get dark. What am I using for defeating the fleas? I don't know offhand. I could probably send you a message on it, but nothing that comes from the stores. It's something that requires a prescription. And if you look around on the black market the right way, you can get your hands on that stuff. Not saying that you should buy things on the black market, especially not pagers, because you could have adverse effects. In regards to Masonic symbols and whatnot, okay, that makes sense. Thinking, yep, cities more like modern. Yeah, we're not going to say that. I'll get in trouble. Mount Etna furnace video. I love the Mount Etna video. That was, the history was just crazy. And finding the graveyard was also spectacular. And it was exhausting. Let's see. Central PA rail fan. So that underpass goes all the way through. I had read something about people making comments that the local residents there get a little antsy when people come through, which I don't really care. It's a public road, so they can get antsy all they want. I just try to avoid the conflict. Yeah, Steve, RR police are getting a little more tough recently. They've also been expanding the amount of territory that they are in control of to either sides of railroads, which is really annoying because it's cutting into trails, roads, and waterways. And yeah, they don't get happy when you make fun of them. But they are in a position where they can legally hold you, they can legally cuff you and stand there until the stadies show up. So you got to be careful with that. Now, when I was younger, back in Philadelphia area, there was a time where the Amtrak cops, they'd shoot you with salt guns, but I don't know nothing about that. Nothing at all. We'll leave it at that. Meadowcroft Rock Shelter. Alan, no, I have not yet been to Meadowcroft. It's on my list. I want to go there. I'm trying to get everything together because the story that they will tell me differs from the story that I've been able to uncover through historical record. They're following the primary academic story, which they kind of have to, because if they don't, then they don't get any money. But there's way more to the story than what they're telling. Planning out toward Allentown or Reading areas. Yeah, I've been avoiding the Northeast and lower Northeast just so I don't interfere directly or indirectly with the vast majority of people that do similar to what I do. Like everybody I know is all about Cliff, the wandering woodsman who just kind of hikes through parks, and he's starting to go all over the state, or he's been going all over the state, hitting all the parks, and he does a really good job with it. And then there's JP Videos, Rustic Ventures, DD Explores. There's Emerald Production Studios. There's a lot of people out that way. And I don't want to negatively cross paths because I'm really about the community. So I'd like to get together with them and do cooperatives first. But if it doesn't pan out, yeah, I'll be hitting them, and I'll be hitting them in a very bulky kind of way. There are so many locations that are just waiting to have their story told. Like you mentioned the pagoda at Reading, but just what, 10 minutes north of that? Nah, probably 15 minutes north of that. Oh, up toward Pottstown, but before you reach Pottstown, is you got the Witch's Hat, and go hit that. Roger just mentioned Daniel Boone Homestead near Douglasville. My aunt and my uncle owned the house directly next to the Daniel Boone Homestead my whole life. They passed away probably a decade ago. But yeah, I'm very familiar with that. That was my secondary stomping grounds, all of that area, all the way up into the Poconos. I probably stopped maybe 40 miles short of New York when I was hanging out in the Northeast. Am I interested in Warhammer? Sean, does this look like a gaming channel? I know it's a gaming PC, and yeah, I do gaming, but I have all the Warhammer games. Byron, let's see. Bennington Coke Ovens was fun. And going into one, I don't know if you actually went into it. You found the actual site of the actual furnace. That's awesome. I never found the town either directly across the road. I never found any remnants of the town, but I was also a little burned out from the walk, and it was cold, and I was new to the game. So I'm going to have to do that again. Roger Conrad Weiser will be fun because he has one of those stories that's not what everybody thinks it is. And you're probably aware of that. Oh, Lisa, we can't speak like that about not being a fan of the Woodsman and that he's not very informative. I don't know him personally. I just know them from chats that I've been involved in here and there. But I don't disagree. But hey, he's doing his thing and he's doing well with it. So there's that. That's a positive. Although I'm catching up to him very quickly. Thanks to you guys. Boyertown Bears. Are they all the metal painted bears all throughout the town? Kind of like what they're doing with all the groundhogs up in Punxsutawney. And where's the other place? There's another place where they do it with turkeys. And I was like, this is kind of crazy. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I know that I don't know for a fact, I heard that there was something going on over at Mars, Pennsylvania, where they want to put up more UFOs, which is really cool. The one UFO is really cool. What's even cooler is that on all the crosswalks, the bricks that are in the ground actually have UFOs on them. And that's just awesome. And I'll be going out there later this year for Mars's actual birthday, not the town, for the actual planet. All right, so let's see. I caught up. How's everybody doing? Any more questions or anything you want to chatter about? I know Aries wants to tell me how I've screwed up the stream. He likes telling me that. Only because I've ridden him for so long about his stream. Let's see. All right, there's 23 of you out there watching. Let's go. I gotta snap fingers. What are my thoughts on living through major historical events one after the other? Most people seem to just brush over as, yeah, that just happened. That's an excellent question, Sean. Even I don't know if you're being serious about it or not, because you're one of my biological spawn. So I'm going to assume that you're being genuinely grown up here. And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of the millennial kids don't realize that history's passing them. The Z's don't know anything about history to know what's passing them. The boomers don't care that history's passing them. And we whom are Generation X, yes, we 100% say, yeah, that just happened. Because in our time, we saw so many things. Like you'll hear about the millennials. Oh, the millennials had to suffer through, they were born into the fall of the towers, meaning the towers of New York, the Twin Towers. And I don't know, we as Gen X, we watched them try to blow up the towers the first time from underground. I grew up in Philadelphia, where we had towers that burned from the ground up and the whole city was running around like chickens without heads, just to have a movie 2 years later called The Towering Infernos, or Towering Inferno, which was the story of one of the worst burning high-rise stories ever. There's just so many things that we saw. I think the first planetary alignment in a long time took place in 1982-ish. No. Would have been 87-ish, maybe 88. And that was the first real, the world's going to end scenario with the alignment of the planets. And then it just like spiraled out of control, and it was like Y2K and global for us, then a hole in the ozone layer and the whole planet's gonna freeze, which turned into now we're all gonna sweat to death and die. And then they just call it climate change because they already burned out all the other words that they could use. And it's been going on for thousands of years. So we're seeing this repetitive fear mongering coming from our elected officials and very uneducated people. And we've kind of become numb to it. Besides, we're Generation X. We take the hit and we roll with it. We didn't have helmets. We drank from the hose. And, well, you know enough about your grandparents to know how we were raised. Okay, so is the hat, this is from Aaron Glass, is the hat to hide the massive forehead all of my children inherited? Well, being that I'm not the one with Norwegian blood, I think you're looking on the wrong side of the family, Aaron. All right, the story of the Slinky. I do have that on my list, and I actually, yeah, I can push that up the list, Roger. Slinky's a really good story. I mean, it was the best failed spring ever. You're welcome, Central PA Rail fam. Lisa and Drew, if you come up with ideas and stuff like that you want to ask questions after, just send them to me or make a list. Come on. You know I do this stuff. Here's let me, as soon as I get done these last two, I'm also going to throw something out there. Scott's talking about the Z's. I'm being called out. Not the first time. Read out. You're special. Spelled with a CH. And the only thing I could say about you is you see the world differently than your brethren. And you're going to be very important because of that. Don't let them push you down, because you're more Z-zennial than the Xer zennials are with your information and knowledge of the things that you do. I'm always impressed by you. So you're not being called out. I'm not going to spank you for it. It's totally okay. It's okay to be a Z. Just don't be a Z. Don't give me no skibbity. No skibbity toilet here. Well, what part of Philly am I from? You were born in Upper Darby. Okay, Alex, let me tell you what part of Philly I was. I was from the part of Philly where Upper Darby's not Philly. Okay, did you get that? Did you get that? I'm from Juniata, which was surrounded by Frankfort, Kensington, lower northeast part of Philadelphia. It called by the police the Badlands, and let's see. Oh, all the videos that you do see of Philly with everybody who's doing fentanyl slumps, formerly the heroin slumps. Yeah, that's where I grew up, literally. Let's see, something I'm excited to talk about or want to talk about, but haven't had a good opportunity to throw in. I don't know, Sean. I'll have to get back to you on that one. Do I ever look back at how many changes and events happened during our grandparents' and great-grandparents' lifetimes? And you often find yourself thinking about that. Yes, but I embrace change and I embrace everybody moving forward. Everybody needs their own style. I mean, we might have a bunch of eggheads out there right now, but one of them's going to make something pretty cool that we're all going to really like, or maybe they won't. Or maybe they'll undo some of the stuff we did. I mean, we as Generation X, we created these things and we got everybody hooked on everything, apps and money and tracking and things like that, which is not what we intended any of it for. Maybe they'll make something that'll undo that and the kids will go back out and play. They'll learn how to experience bike riding and the freedom of the wind blowing through your hair, or going out into the woods and seeing what that's like, and not being so dependent on Google or, for crying out loud, Wiki. All right, notice Aries, you're out of line. Yes, we are humans, but what is the human? You're out of line. We can't go there. Ah, you're in the fairgrounds hood of St. Louis. Nice. Nice. I've only driven through there with the doors locked. Okay. So with being caught up, let's see. All right. With being caught up, one of the things that I'm going to start doing with the channel, I need to get things set up for it. Kind of embarrassed to say it this way, but I'm going to create a situation where when I put out a video, a long form video, not the shorts, but a long form video, I'm going to provide an after show. And the after show is going to be open to people who want to talk about either the video that just played or like a live like this. I will still do a live like this, probably every month or 2 months, maybe 3 months. But the after show is going to be under subscription only. So I haven't figured it out yet whether I'm going to do it as YouTube member or through Patreon. But I need to help the channel a little bit. So it'll be like, I haven't even decided a dollar amount to have it set up so that people can participate in it. And I just wanted to give you guys a heads up, being that you're already in here, but I'll still be doing these live chats every so often after that. I'm getting a lot of requests from a lot of people, a lot of the newer people too, who are, they really like the interaction. And then I'm also going to have to make a decision on if I do Twitch or not. If I do Twitch and then bring it over into YouTube, or keep it on YouTube, and I don't know how to manage some things in there. I'll probably have to talk to my middle son about the middle son, who was chosen as my favorite at the beginning. I can't say that again, Garrett, because I had to throw up. It's right here. Anyway, I'll have to talk to him to see how he splits his broadcast. Twitch is another streaming service, but it's very more specific to perpetual and constant live streams. It's the only reason why YouTube created the live stream service on YouTube itself. It's a lot more interactive and gives a lot more tools for you guys to interact with me. Like the way the screen shares and everything seems to be better, but I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know. I'll have to look in it. But yeah, Lisa, just go out and do a twitch.com and check that out. Mrs. Barney, you're going to save the pennies? That's so cool. That's one of the reasons why I don't know if I'll do Twitch or create memberships on YouTube side. One of the things about that is there are people that have been with me since the beginning. And I wouldn't want them to necessarily have to pay, because they're just fun to have along for the ride. They've been part of, they helped make the Odyssey what it was and gave me pointers and information right off the beginning. And I don't want to say, oh yeah, like give me $1 and you can be part of this, because they are part of it. So we'll see how it plays out. Also want to set it up so that people can gift each other and things like that. Roger, of course I've heard of Wormleysburg. Well, I didn't until you said it the first time, which I think was the last live show. And and I was like, wait, Wormleysburg? Where the hell's Wormleysburg? Now I know everything about Wormleysburg. Oh, Mrs. Barney, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. I really do. The lives are fun. I think they're fun. Gives me something to do. And you guys were all available tonight. Thank you so much for that. That's really impressive. Because you know that the whole Saturday night thing was because of what you all wanted. And then I was like, no, I can't, because former indentured servant daughter's going for a long ride tomorrow with me, and we got things to do, people to see, sights to hit, history to tell. Okay, it's 9:26. I've eaten up enough of your time. I thank all of you for participating. No, let's see, what's he saying? He's putting stuff out. Okay, so let's see. Should I do a proper outro? What would be a proper outro? I don't even remember. Everybody tell me. What do I say? I have to say, remember to like. If you enjoyed this live chat, remember to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell. Leave comments below. If you have any questions that you can't remember, leave comments. Send me a direct message. Remember to check out the merch store, which is located down in the description, where you could get yourself a fancy mug, just like this one. It makes it taste so much better. As always, I love all of you. You're all wonderful. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Of course, I can't cut real quick because I got to go to the mouse and climb up here. And I got to click over here. And see you later, family.